She's gonna hand you a red-headed Gabriel coming from the bar in a plastic tie. He's gonna swing from the tree of life. He's gonna try to sell you on a great big lie. But when you speak to her, her eyes light up. The music spills right into your cup. The minstrels play and the waitress brings ice. There are pies on a carousel, have a slice. But watch out, she ain't no good for you. He's gonna spin like the tractor pull. She'll sit back when he tells his tale. He's gonna yell when he drinks his beer. She'll sit back and drink ginger ale. But when you speak to her, her eyes light up. The music spills right into your cup. It's so abrupt and it's so concise. There are pies on a carousel, have a slice. But watch out, she ain't no good for you. I say watch out, she ain't no good for you. She'd like to put you in her zoo, right between the canaries and the cockatoos. She'll pull out your feathers for her brand new hat, and when she's done that, she'll feed you to her cat. So watch out, she ain't no good for you. Watch out, she ain't no good for you. Watch out, she ain't no good for you. Yeah, all right now.
Coded Friend 001 listeners, how's everybody doing today? Give me a little 5x5 in the chat if you can hear me okay. Unlocked, I got your email, started to take a peek at it. I will review that after the broadcast. I do have sound, I hear myself, everything's good. Let me know how y'all are doing today. Give me a second to kill that monitor so I don't get bleed through. Hang on. We're all set, ready to roll. If anybody wants to join in on the chat, there is a link posted in the chat room pinned at the top. And you can get your 2 cents in if you so desire. Let's see who we got here today. Hello, Flo B. Hello, Unlocked. Hello, W124 Mercedes. Raccoon Mama, made alive. Good to have you here, love. Hope everybody's doing good today. I am actually fantastic. Yesterday, I slept the entire day. I think I woke up for a little bit and popped in at Welsh News Network's broadcast last night, and then promptly went back to sleep. So I am well rested and ready to roll. I have... Unlocked, if you want to come up for a little bit later on in the broadcast, go ahead. After you finish restreaming Josie. That's fine. Have you noticed, Unlocked, the big bash he has in his, on the right side of his forehead? It looks like somebody hit him with a fucking chair or something. Well, he'll have some little excuse for that. Maybe he got too frisky with a young boy. One can never tell. Today we have a little sampling of the dumbasses on YouTube. There's quite a few of them. Some people might put me in that category, you know, if you're on the other side of the equation from me. And I don't mind. If you think I'm dumb, you think I'm dumb. That's quite fine with me. I know who I am. Captain Alessandro Thundermutts. How you doing, bro? So, the first selection today, let me get this little cake piece removed, is a gentleman by the name of Bonderud Speaks on YouTube. The link for his page is down in the description box. I've only selected a few samples out of his commentary on both Chili de Castro and Here's the Deal. This video response he did to a Here's the Deal video that included Delete Laws, Chili de Castro, is quite hilarious. It's from back in September, and you can get a good feel for the dopiness of both parties, Delete Laws and Here's the Deal. The expressions and the commentary by Bonderud is just hilarious. Now, Bonderud is an bar-certified attorney in Florida, and he cut his teeth on civil rights suits. That's how he started. And he is a gentleman that went after police officers who, at least in the beginning, from what he explains, the beginning of his career, he did go after police officers who overstepped the bounds of their authority. So he is not, as Chili de Castro would say and call a lot of people, copsuckers. He's far from that. He's actually on the other side of the fence. He has successfully sued police officers. He has successfully represented individuals whose civil rights were violated by the police. So hearing him comment on both Chili de Castro and Here's the Deal is actually quite priceless. So let's get a look at clip one here.
Bonderud, attorney in Jacksonville, Florida, and one of my subscribers asked me to do a video about another YouTube channel, somebody named Chili de Castro. He has a YouTube channel called Delete Laws. And so I started reading up about him, trying to at least, and I did a search and found another YouTube channel that posted a video doing a reaction. I watched it, and my goodness, I have to jump in on this commentary, because there is so much stupid that needs to be corrected here. I feel like it'd be a disservice for me not to talk about this. So we're going to look at a video that was posted to the Here's the Deal YouTube channel. I'll drop a link in my description, and I'll have some commentary on it. So let's start.
Now here's the kind of traffic stop you don't see every day. See, this is the problem with police in America. This guy right here is an authoritarian piece of shit. This guy right here, he's trying to demand me around. What he doesn't understand is he doesn't have dominion over me.
So this actually, it reminds me of a phone call I actually received just last week. Somebody called me, and no joke, I got a phone call from somebody, a man, saying that he wants to be a sovereign citizen and he wants to know where he can apply to become a sovereign citizen. And obviously, sovereign citizens, and I'm not saying that this guy is a sovereign citizen. I'm not going to throw a label around at him, but you know, sovereign citizens don't believe that they're answerable to really anyone, I guess. And so obviously there's no application that you have to submit to become a sovereign citizen. But I feel like, you know, I feel like what we're about to see on this video is a really bad example of how to behave if a law enforcement officer pulls you over. So let's keep going. Let's see what happens.
Can't let tyrants like this push you around. He literally was physically touching me, when if he didn't have that badge and gun, he would never do that to me. Ever, because he knows better. He knows what would happen. Don't you? Without that badge and gun, we both know what would happen. You're the beta male. I'm the alpha male.
So, rule number one, if you get stopped by a police officer, you know, you don't have to be a jerk. You don't have to be a jackass either, like this guy is. All right. Normally, things won't go bad for you if you're courteous. But I guarantee if you're a jackass like this guy, things aren't going to go so well. But let's keep watching.
Okay, so he's not pulling any punches here. I mean, he's straight up calling Castro a dope and a jackass. And I love the comment, there's so much stupid going on here, we may not get to all of it. So Bonderud Unlocked in the chat room, one of our early subscribers, says he's the one that recommended this one to Bonderud. I'm so glad it was you, Unlocked. I'm happy about that. Bonderud only has about 1,000 subscribers at this point in time, maybe a little more. So if you like what you see here and you like his commentary, go over to his page. The link for this particular video is in the description box below. Go over to his page, watch a video or two. If you like what you see, give him a subscribe. You know, he's over the monetization mark, but, you know, as far as things go, 1,000 subscribers, a relatively small channel, kind of like us. If you do subscribe, drop a comment that codedfriend.001 sent you over. Give him an NTFG and pop around every once in a while to see what he's doing. He's got a lot of material on Jeremy DeWitt, who about 2 years ago was a big fascination for people on YouTube. And now that he was out of jail, and I think back in jail or on the verge of going back to jail, DeWitt's got a little popularity again. So let's head on to clip 2 and see what else Mr. Bonderud has to say about our loved ass Chili de Castro.
So, despite the fact that Delete Laws, a self-proclaimed constitutional law professor, didn't really have a right to know immediately why he was pulled over, this officer told him. And there were 2 different reasons why he was pulled over. And even if he didn't commit those 2 traffic infractions, if the officer had probable cause to believe that a civil traffic infraction had been committed, then the officer can pull him over. And Delete Laws has to produce driver's license and registration. And failure to do so can be punished criminally. So, yeah, it's all cool. He's a YouTuber. He's making a video, and he has an audience who wants to watch his jackassery. But it's not something that you want to emulate. It's not something that you want to copy. Because if you're in the right jurisdiction, you're going to get hammered. You can get arrested. And it'll be a valid arrest. It won't be a false arrest. It'll be a good arrest. Because there's a valid basis for the traffic stop, and you refuse to comply with a lawful order, you're going to be under arrest. But, you know, this officer, again, in spite of, Delete Laws setting the tone in a very confrontational way, officer's pretty courteous so far. But let's see what happens.
Do you have a driver's license, please?
I do, but it's in here. You're not going to be scared if I reach it, are you?
Do you have any weapons?
Well, I don't answer any questions, but you can clearly see inside of my vehicle. I have camera equipment. I'm a TV producer.
So, do you have any weapons? And he doesn't want to answer. So, you know, yeah, that's his right. He doesn't have to answer any questions. But, you know, there's a way to make it easier. And once you've committed a civil traffic offense and you're lawfully stopped, you can't complain about the stop being prolonged when you don't want to cooperate with it. All right? His own actions are going to cause the stop to be prolonged lawfully. So let's see what happens.
Do you have a driver's license, please?
I do.
Could you grab it for me, please?
But I did a U-turn where the road was closed. I just want you to notice that.
So he can argue with them all he wants. The place to adjudicate a conflict is in court, not on the roadside.
Could you give me your driver's license, please?
I can, but I got to reach in here, and I don't want you to be scared.
Just give me your driver's license.
This is the Mullen Commission. I teach constitutional law.
He does not teach constitutional law. He's a jackass.
Just so you understand what you're doing here.
All right.
Be really careful your steps here.
Give me your driver's license, please.
It's a veiled threat. Not a good idea.
You can't say I ran the red light when the road was closed and I didn't see the road was closed.
You didn't see the road was closed. Who cares? You can still run a red light.
I took a right and there was nowhere to go.
Please give me your driver's license, your insurance, and your registration.
You don't have to be demanding. You can clearly see I'm pulling out my identification for you right here.
He's justifiably being demanding. So delete laws. Chile is slow rolling him, and I think the officer's doing a good job so far. I don't have any problem with what the officer's done so far.
There's no reason for you to be rude to me. Remember, 300,000 people follow me teaching constitutional law.
There is so much stupid in this video. I don't know that we'll be able to address everything.
That's fucking the best line about a delete laws video ever. There is so much stupid here. I don't know if we're going to be able to address everything. Bonderud actually commends the officer on his patience in dealing with Chile de Castro. He rightly acknowledged that Chile completely skipped over answering the question, do you have weapons in the vehicle? We all know at this point in time, underneath his have mattress will travel mattress, there is a shotgun, which was stolen with the van when the van was stolen. So the officer telling Chile to get back in the car while he's going around the car rummaging around it later in the video is 100% correct in having him get back in the vehicle. Clip number 3, here we go.
Let me see if it's Mr. I did side. I can get it. I don't need your help. You can. I'm not a criminal, so get the fuck off of me, brother.
I'm gonna have you wait in your car.
No, I'm gonna grab my registration like he asked me to do.
I'm gonna have you wait in your car.
You're not giving me a lawful order. I teach constitutional law. Be very careful what you do.
Okay, this is for
officer safety. This is Ontario versus Ohio. I'm Pennsylvania versus Mims right now. I'm outside of my car. The 1978 Holden. Are you sure? Yeah. I'm allowed to go over in my registration as he asked me to do. Stop demanding. Look what he's doing. He's demanding me around. Yeah. This is not a lawful order. No, because I said don't tell me what to do. No, because I said don't tell me what to do.
The officer can absolutely tell him what to do. It's a traffic stop that was based on probable cause to believe that he committed 2 civil traffic offenses. So yes, the officer can tell you to get back in the car.
You don't understand. If you make one mistake here, I will go after you.
Okay.
So now let me get my registration as he asked me to do.
I'm gonna have you wait in your vehicle.
I need to go around the inside to get my registration.
Okay. When I'm ready to
you're not the boss of me. You're a cop doing a job.
Yes.
You have no other skills than this.
This is my traffic stop.
This is not your traffic stop. This is my freedom.
This is my traffic stop.
This is not your.
This is actually a good thing to highlight here. This cop thinks that he is the authority on the scene.
He is. He actually is. He's the authority on the scene, and Chile de Castro's freedom is curtailed as long as the civil traffic stop is going on. It's based on probable cause to believe that a civil traffic offense had been committed. And so, yes, your freedom gets curtailed during the pendency of the traffic stop. Sorry. That's how it is here.
That he is the parent, the guardian, the overlord, and that his word must be obeyed. If his word is not obeyed in the mind of this cop, then he can rightly punish the person who disobeyed his word.
Not punish, but arrest. He can be arrested. Punishment comes from the judge. The officer can't punish him, but the officer can arrest him, and then the judge can punish him once you're convicted.
Hello, Hodgepodge Harmony. Hello, Walter, Texas. Hello, Nemo813. Don't believe I've seen you here before. There is a link pinned up in the top of the chat to come up if you want to speak. We are open and welcome. I don't have my unofficial co-host Hank with me today, so I am flying solo. Hello, Radius Hattis. How are you, sir? Clip number 4. 2 birds, 1 stone. Bonderud's going to talk about how dumb Here's the Deal is after he finishes up on how dumb Chili de Castro is.
Important here, while they claim to be public servants, they operate in the capacity of public masters, treating us as the servants. We need to remember this kind of thing. This is super important because this is a mentality every single cop has. They believe that when they put on that costume, when they don that badge, when they walk around the streets with the authority of the state, that they are masters over the rest of us, and it's not true. These are authoritarian power trippers drunk on their own power.
No. We have a police officer who's protecting the public from a bad driver who committed 2 civil traffic offenses.
This is my freedom. This is my freedom. So he asked me to get the registration, I'm getting it.
I'm asking you to wait in your car.
No, the answer's no. The answer's no. You cannot demand that I do unlawful orders. I teach constitutional law. Be very careful, officer, okay? You don't think that it'll affect you, but by about the 2nd year, when I get into your jacket and you get a complaint on your jacket, and then you get demoted from overtime, doesn't that affect your pension?
Get your hand out of my face.
My hand's not in your face. I'm having it.
The restraint on display right now by this law enforcement officer is to be commended.
Discussion like a regular. Why are you touching me? Get your fucking hands off me.
So just to put this in perspective, the guy who pulled over and harassed the individual in the car is telling the individual who stepped out of his car to get his hand out of his face. Everything's just completely upside down here.
It's like Jim Carrey in the movie Liar Liar. Stop breaking the law, a-hole, right? I mean, goodness.
Maybe I was saying right here.
Look, who's walking up and doing what to do?
I'm not moving at all, sir.
I have 300,000 followers, brother. They're gonna love this. I have 300,000 followers, brother. They're gonna love this. I'm trying to get my registration as he asked me to do. I'm not a danger to anybody. I've already showed him the.
He actually doesn't know that he's not a danger to anyone because he refused to answer the question, do you have any weapons? So you really can't have it both ways, dude.
Yeah, there you go. And as we all know at this point in time, Chili did at that point in time have a shotgun hiding underneath the mattress in the back of his Honda Odyssey van. Chili have mattress will travel to Castro. With a mattress in the back of the van, you can always pick up a little cash at the truck stops as you drive from here to there. Clip number 5 will close out Mr. Bonderud's take on Chili de Castro, and here's the deal. Again, these clips come from Bonderud Speaks. The link for this particular video, if you want to watch it in its entirety, is provided in the description box. Take a look at the rest of Bonderud's channel, and if you like what you see, give him a subscribe. He definitely deserves it.
Commission on police, and I'm sure you know absolutely nothing about is the 94 Mullen Commission that shows police are absolute trash. That's
The 1994 Mullen Commission from almost 30 years ago. Police are trash.
Welsh News Network, you're in the mix. How you doing today, bro?
I am doing excellent today, Coded. How about you?
Very good. I'm good. I slept the whole day yesterday, man. This week, I think I had a dose of the flu. This weekend, I was exhausted by the time I got home Monday night. I think I slept all day Tuesday. I think the only time I was really awake was when I popped over and dropped a couple comments in your chat last night. I think I slept right up to that point, and then after your broadcast was done, I think I just went back to sleep. Yeah, I'm in really good shape. I'm happy, and I'm a little happier to find out that you're happy today. You want to give us a clue as to why you're so happy today?
Let's just say someone screwed up royally.
Could that have to do with a court filing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You going to cover that tonight on your broadcast?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. So anybody who wants to get up to speed on there were two filings, right, Dan? The second one being a little better than the first?
The California one is what we're going to be covering.
Cool. So Welsh News Network tonight, 6:30, Dan, East Coast time, U.S.?
Yep.
East Coast time, U.S., 6:30, Welsh News Network. We'll go over the chili stuff. And I don't think I have anything to do tonight, so unless I get I am standby for work, so unless I get a call for work this evening, I might jump over and join in the antics with you. I'm glad you're happy.
You definitely want to.
I will then. I'm glad you're so happy about it. Let me wrap up this Bonderud clip. Are you familiar with Bonderud Speaks, Dan?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he is. He's animated. His reactions are fucking hilarious. So anybody out there, he's only got about 1,000 subscribers right now. If you're not subscribed to his channel, pop over there, give a listen to some of the stuff, and give him a sub. He's worth the watch, that's for sure. Let's get back to this. We'll finish this out, and then we'll move on to something else.
You got me there.
you signed up to do this. You're garbage man. You don't have any other skills other than this right here. Sad. Pathetic. So I'm going to pull out my poster here to show him exactly what he's talking about because he has no idea what he's doing. That's okay, though.
Just a real quick comment about the garbage man statement. I saw delete laws under this video right here. I think it's under Lackluster's comment. Lackluster said, I used to call them janitors. Now I don't want to call them janitors anymore because I don't want to offend the janitors. Delete law said, yeah, I probably need to stop using garbage men because garbage men actually work for a living. And I was thinking, maybe we should call them parasites. Then we run the risk of, offending real, legitimate parasites. So, and then it dawns on you that these costumed, cowardly clowns who are out there being the conformists they shouldn't be, just following orders and running, just taking away the rest of our freedoms. These guys right here are really, really bad. These gangbangers, these costumed, badged gangbangers, which is what they are, because they're even more dangerous than the Crips and the Bloods, because at least the average person who's not in the gang recognizes that the Crips and the Bloods have no legitimized authority over them. Whereas the reason the Thin Blue Line gang is so dangerous, so much more, infinitely more dangerous than the Red and Blue Crips and the Bloods, is because people imagine that they actually do have legitimized authority over them, and they don't. It's all a complete fiction. Like Bastiat said, the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. And that's what these parasites do. These human parasites, they're living off the expense of our time and laboring energies as they harass the rest of us and laugh themselves public servants.
First of all, yeah, the Thin Blue Line can be a problem, but this is a traffic stop. There's no Thin Blue Line here. It's a traffic stop, and it doesn't have to be anything more than that. And this commentator, the Here's the Deal guy, I think he could really use a visit to another country where there isn't a police force and there isn't, law and order in downtown cities, metropolitan areas, in the outskirts, and see what happens. Madness. He's not a tyrant, and he's not taking away rights. What he's doing is curtailing the freedom based on probable cause to believe that a civil traffic offense had occurred. But I digress.
I'll let you get. I have no problem doing it.
See, you can't run around and put your hands on people. You don't have a right to put your hands on me. I'm not armed and dangerous. I'm not a felon. I don't have a criminal record. You see what I'm saying? This is the poster which I teach on right here. So right,
Complete Laws breaks out this poster, flips it on the car so you can give him this little lesson about the law that this cop is supposed to know because that's his profession. And you'll see in just a couple seconds the other cop comes up, issues the citation, and they get out of there because they don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to listen to and learn about the fact that they are the costume criminal clown network, the thin blue line gang that's completely and deliberately harassing the rest of us.
There is a clown that's made an appearance in this video, but it's not the police officers.
They don't want to hear that.
So just so you guys can see, I'm showing the coward. There's the 1977 holdings of Pennsylvania versus Mims. That's an extension of Terry versus Ohio. Now see, what the coward here is trying to do is he wants to Terry stop me and put his hands on me. But what he doesn't understand is that Pennsylvania versus Mims has a very explicit statute. The officer has to believe that I'm armed and dangerous before he can jerk me out of my car or detain me with handcuffs.
He's not detained with handcuffs, and he wasn't jerked out of the car. Delete Laws got out of the car. The officer wanted him to sit his ass back in the car.
So show me what my camera gear in my backpack here, what would make you assume that I'm armed and dangerous? And why are you up on me? Right? It's like, this is the way American police treat American citizens.
When American citizens act like jackasses.
It's completely uncalled for.
No.
And they pulled me over because there was a road down there that was
Citation? Yes, so here, but
what's my citation for?
Yeah.
what am I going to issue?
That's right.
You couldn't see the road was closed out there? Oh,
Goodbye.
what the hell, dude? You guys are just the stories. Oh, can I walk over here now? Are you still scared, Copper? Are you still scared? Are you still scared? Are you still scared? Yeah, coward. See you next time, coward. Which, by the way, I need your business card, officer.
Yeah, because I wanted to be free to go. And then he gets the citations and now, whoa, hold on. Don't go yet.
Bonderud fucking nailed the analysis of Chili's fucking stupidness in that video. There is more to that video. I just pulled some clips out of it, because I know the channel's small and it that video only had like 3,000 views. So I wanted to present to our audience here another attorney, and Bonderud is a Florida attorney who did start his practice with civil rights lawsuits against police officers who overstepped their bounds. So he's not an individual who's, as Chili would say, a cop sucker or on the side of law enforcement. He's on the side of right and wrong, legal and illegal, and he doesn't have he has nothing good to say about Chili Castro or about Here's the Deal. In fact, he's mocking them and making fun of their fucking nonsense and rightly pointing out the hypocrisy of their statements when Chili Castro is to blame for the fucking problems Chili Castro has, and 90% of it, as Bonderud pointed out, is directly related to his demeanor and the way his fucking rudeness and uncivil behavior. W124 Yeah, I do. It's in the description box below the video, Hank. You haven't seen that before?
The description for this? No, this is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, the description for this video in the description box underneath the Coded Friend video you're currently watching. The link in the description box for Bonderud Speaks.
Yeah, the one in chat now.
Cool. You popped it in chat. Thank you, Hank. That's why I keep you around, man. You do all that stuff perfectly, because I wouldn't have thought to put that in there. W124 Mercedes says she has a friend who is a sheriff, and she gave video to the sheriff of Chile threatening to shoot police officers and waving the Magnum 44 around. So Mercedes W124 Mercedes got feedback from the sheriff that Chile will be placed on the armed and dangerous list shortly. Thank you for doing that, W124. I feel a little safer now.
Yeah, if Chile tries to use the lines, he likes his guns like he likes his condoms. Sorry, sir, we don't make guns that small.
I have one of the dudes I work with has a Derringer that shoots a 22 that's literally small. Like if you made the gun thing with your index finger and thumb, it's actually smaller than that. It's crazy how small the thing is. Like you could easily palm it.
There's a gun it shoots like a 14 millimeter, or not 14, but point 14 caliber.
Got you.
It's like a dangerous party favor. You're probably not even going to be able to do any damage with it, but it might.
Yeah, you would have to get a flesh shot with something that small. Something like that would bounce off your skull. Is
the size and the oomph behind it, it probably wouldn't make it in the skin.
Oh, really? It would be like a BB gun. All you're going to do is piss the guy off that you shot. Didn't Brady, when Reagan, who was it, Hinckley, that tried to assassinate Reagan?
Yeah,
and
Hinckley.
Then Brady got hit. I think that was only a 22, right?
It was a smaller caliber.
Yeah, it was pretty small. And that
22s is a hell of a lot more dangerous than you think. The mods for a hit gun for nothing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're not, especially if it's shot from a rifle instead of a revolver. Yeah, man. I'm not a gun guy. I believe in gun rights. I think that people who have guns, who want to have guns, should have guns. I believe in the hunting thing. I believe in the self-defense thing. The only reason I don't have a gun is because if I had had a gun, I would have shot somebody by now, and I don't need to bring that kind of fucking trouble into my life. I literally am a person, I would rather get shot than shoot somebody.
Yeah. I prefer not to have to ever shoot anybody again, but
yeah, I think anybody with any. Sorry, Hank. Or do we have some delay between you and me? Not so much with Dan, and I apologize because the last few broadcasts, when I go back and re-listen to them, I've noticed that I'm stepping all over you, and I apologize for that. I think there's a little.
That's no problem.
Little lag between you and me. Oh, and just for the sake of clarity, I did pull down the last live broadcast, which was Out Loud number 3, and the reason I did that is I misreferenced Job for Jonah, which I believe is the result of maybe a little extra cough syrup on Monday. And I misquoted a scriptural reference too, and those things I take pretty seriously. So I took that down. I will fix the errors, and then I will re-upload it for a day when I'm not able to do a live broadcast. One of the work days that I usually don't broadcast on. So I want to thank everybody who listened to that and the feedback I got for it. But I'm not comfortable with the misquoting of scripture, which I should have done a better job with. So we got a little bit of Castro and Here's the Deal out of the way in their stupidity. I have queued up a little bit of Burn the Corporate Fiction, talking about the father and son, SSUM, who SSUM 369, who used to be Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind, who got his original channel nuked, and now he's on suspension on his SSUM 369 channel. So he's appearing with his son on Burn the Corporate Fiction. I have a little bit of that, the intro from the last show, and we could pop up a little Zetetic Warrior too, and maybe get a Three Stooges of dumbasses going here. Hank or Dan, any preference? Zetetic Warrior first or Burn the Corporate Fiction?
I'll just go ahead and do the Burn the Corporate Fiction first.
Sounds good to me. We'll go with
worked for me, but I thought I recognized Brian Young's dulcet tones in your last one.
Brian Young.
Yeah, here's the deal.
Oh, yeah. The video that Bonderud was going over, I didn't realize that was his real name. The video Bonderud was going over was actually a Here's the Deal video done for Delete Laws that was put on Here's the Deal's channel. Bonderud reviewed that to review Chili, and so you kind of got a double shot in there. But that shows you that these two have been associated with each other, because Here's the Deal did the Dollarhide video for Chili. So these two have been, talking to each other behind the scenes, possibly in cahoots, going back
they
as far
openly
as
admit
September. Yeah. He's not the brightest boy walking. Here's the Deal. He got a channel blown up on him, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Once or twice. Yep. Although, strangely, it does look, brace yourself for this, because this is a shock. It does look like he is the only one on their side who does not have a major criminal history.
Oh, really? That is surprising. Very surprising. I see you've checked into that.
We've been looking, and we can't find anything.
Dan,
are you the only one on his side that's capable of hiding it?
Could be the case, but it's really difficult to hide shit now. Really difficult, especially if it's within the last 10 years, because everything's digital and all that shit is public records. I mean, unless you pull what Chili pulled with the GHB and snitch people out and get your records sealed, for your own protection, so the people you snitched on don't come back and fuck your shit up.
Yep.
It does appear snitching is the only way to get your records hidden these days. So let's jump into a little Burn the Corporate Fiction here. If you want to comment, just say pause, and I will pause the video.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to another stream with Burn the Corporate Fiction. Tonight we have our resident YouTube jailbird, Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, who is doing another stint in YouTube jail for medical misinformation. Wouldn't you know, right? Misinformation, that's a made-up word to begin with.
How is misinformation a made-up word? All words are
all
made
words
up.
are made up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All-
especially coming from word salad kings like these two fucks.
Right. All words are made up to begin with. Then they're defined as they get popular use. You know, look at the Urban Dictionary. There's a fuck ton of words and terms in there you won't find in Webster's dictionary.
Yeah.
So all words are initially made up, and there's a logic to the way words are constructed if they're based in Latin, Greek, one of the languages of antiquity. And then they're assigned definitions as they become popular in use, and then they're, you know...
Isn't he the one that took coded and then came with coded and...
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, there's a great story. For a number of years before we came up with an official word, the Welsh word for a microwave oven was brilliant.
What was it?
It translated back into English as oven that goes ping.
Nice.
But for some reason, we didn't keep it. We actually changed to another word for microwave oven. It's like, no, we should have kept this. This was great.
So what's the actual... Can you say in Welsh, oven that goes ping?
Popte ping.
Nice. And what's the official Welsh word for microwave oven at present? Sorry, Hank.
I can't actually remember.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Because no one uses it. No one uses the official word. Everyone uses popte ping.
But even if no one knew it Welsh, you're the guy I would expect to know it. And I'm happy to not, you know, stepping on you, busting your balls. I'm happy to find out there's something you don't know.
There are one or two things that slip through the old brain.
And I'm glad you're willing to admit that. Hank, I stepped on you twice. Were you going to say something, bro?
I think I'm going to start using that word for my microwave now.
The pop de ping?
Hey, that wasn't bad, coded.
I know. Pop de ping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at... I'm okay with languages. I have a good ear for it. I took 6 years of Russian, 2 years in junior high, 4 years in high school, and then in college, because of the philosophy major I had, I took 3 years, 2 years of Latin, 3 years of Greek.
Did you know The Machine?
The Machine?
Oh, it's a comedy routine. If you haven't heard it, it's fucking hilarious.
Oh, okay. Is it on YouTube? I got to go look that up now.
Should be.
Cool.
Yes, it is.
Good.
Do not try and show it on your show. Your show will be ended in a hurry.
We'll get fucked. Okay, but it's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't re-YouTube it. Is that a copyright thing, or is it because of the... Oh, okay. I thought maybe the content was... You were warning me about content.
No, the content... Well, I don't even think the language gets out of YouTube's grasp.
Cool.
But it's copyrighted.
Got you. Okay. Back to a little more of the video. We've barely got a few seconds in. We're already ripping these clowns apart.
Yeah.
Well, you think about what they did. It went back to my January 1st video. That's over a month. Well over a month.
Yeah, I can't believe
after a strike, and I couldn't find anywhere where there was any medical misinformation or advice or anything. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, how do you get to cite somebody for medical misinformation when you're not a medical professional either? So fuck off.
Well, that's why I figured that you probably touched.
Say, Hank, go ahead.
Because it's their fucking network. What they say is allowed is what's allowed. If they say we can't say purple cabbage anymore, then we can't say purple cabbage anymore.
Exactly. Why do these guys have such fucking problems following such simple rules? It's amazing.
Touching on something, you catch the most flack when you're over the target, right? So you're probably touching on something that that is making them, while in your more recent videos, they're not capable of striking whatever video you're actually talking about what bothers them. So they have to go back and look through for a video that they can strike you to get you off, because they're starting to get intimidated by what you're doing. Maybe you're actually reaching people about the heliocentric fallacy, and I think that might be
I think it seems it has something to do with how I've equated the connection between various agricultural corporations that have patents on certain types of corn and wheat.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is known. Nobody's immune.
Holy fuck! Now we're into the whole fucking seed thing. If somebody genetically modified seed and they have a patent on it, they have a patent on it. That's so fucking what? Don't buy that shit. There's plenty of heirloom shit going around. I'm a fucking farmer, dude. You can get seed wherever you want. Get seed from outside the fucking country if you have to. Stop fucking crybabying about everything. Adam McGuire asks, go ahead, Hank.
If you're really that worried about it, buy your own fucking corn and grow it. It's not a hard crop to bring in for personal use.
Exactly. Yeah, corn, because of the size of the fruit, is relatively easy to bring in. And if you know somebody who's got goats or cows, you could sell the rest of the greenage as cattle feed. You know, it is a good crop to grow. You got to rotate it, though, because it's not the greatest shit for the soil. Adam McGuire asks, I'm assuming he's asking this of me, coded friend, were you a child of a spy? Is that why you took Russian that young? No. When I was in junior high, they paired Russian and French. So your first year, you took a half a year of Russian and a half a year of French. If you didn't take that, you took Spanish paired with German. The woman who taught German was an absolute authoritarian, whack you with a yardstick, so I was not going near that. So I wasn't taking German and Spanish. And the woman who taught French was, for a young teenage boy, one of the hottest things I'd ever seen. Like, she was young, she was cute, everybody was taking French. The problem I had was I had zero propensity for the French language, probably because my mind was distracted. I took Russian the second 6 months. The dude who taught Russian was not distracting me mentally the way the French teacher was, and where I fell short in grading on French, I excelled in Russian, and I took Russian for the remainder of my schooling. I didn't have to take it, but, it came easy to me, so I took it. Russian is a Greek-based language, and it's not difficult to pick up. Everything kind of makes sense. English is a very difficult language to learn. So,
from what I'm told, speaking Russian is not that difficult. It's trying to learn to read and write Russian.
I didn't have much difficulty with that. You are right, though. The speaking is not very hard. It is a guttural language. Like when you say hello to a person, you say zdravствуй. If the person is a person of authority or honor, you say здравствуйте. So, all right, we'll get back to a little burn the corporate fiction and social credit and the digital prison of tomorrow. I think this ties in with our Chili de Castro and his desire to digitally imprison people.
Immune to the idea of genetically modified
organisms. People are not ignorant to that.
Well, as soon as I equate that to recent events that have taken place over the last 3 years and how it could pertain to people in the
That's
future.
exactly what did it. Yes, that's exactly what did it for sure, because they can't outright censor that specific subject, but that is a hot issue for them that they do not want exposed, even though that's why the media doesn't touch it. The media doesn't touch. I mean, never in history has that many facilities involved with.
Go ahead, Hank.
Yeah, YouTube could care less about your yammering on about fucking genetically modified crops. But their propensities to continually going back and talking about anti-mask, anti-vax issues, that's where they have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do. I think they're using the fact that they can talk about genetically modified stuff versus can't talk about medical stuff.
Yes, and probably they confuse their audience getting bored shitless with them babbling about that with it being an issue.
Right. It's this is the problem with these guys. They jump from a topic to a completely unrelated topic, thinking that the conversation about the completely unrelated topic somehow justifies the conversation about the original topic. The logic is just broken and strange. Hodgepodge Harmony asks in the chat room, did Sovereign Soul have his channel shut down? He did have his original channel, Sovereign Soul. Unchained Mind was nuked by YouTube for medical misinformation. His backup channel, SSUM 369, is currently, what's the term for it, Hank? On pause, suspended. It's not been gotten suspended. It's not been gotten rid of. It's suspended. I think he's got a 2-week suspension for, once again, medical misinformation. So, these guys don't learn from their mistakes, and they just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. Walter, Texas says hybrid crops have been around for a very long time. Yeah, absolutely they have. The kiwi fruit. Well, man's been cross-pollinating shit for a long fucking time. Like, corn is grass that was generationally selected by human planters to produce larger and larger fruit. Corn is actually grass. The kiwi fruit is a cross between a strawberry and a banana. That was done through cross-pollination. I mean, human beings have been artificially selecting, if you want to talk in Darwinian terms. Natural selection happens spontaneously in nature. Artificial selection is the product of man, animal husbandry, agriculture, crossbreeding things that a lot of the times wouldn't come in contact with each other, like the banana and the strawberry. They don't grow well together in the same climate. Somebody had the idea to cross-pollinate, and thankfully they did, because I love a fucking kiwi fruit. I'm all for it. So, these guys make big deals out of nothing.
Yep.
W124 Mercedes says, Walter, since biblical times, art is all for flavored bananas. Art in my locale in Southeast Asia, we're not quite the tropics. We're in the subtropics. But we're about as close as you can get to being tropical as there is. You would be amazed at how many different types of bananas there are. Like, we're in America, all the bananas we get are the same. those Dole bananas, and they're the product of cloning. That Dole banana that you're getting in the store, in not so long a time, you're not going to be able to get them anymore because the plant is suffering from a viral disease that is wiping those bananas out almost. So you'll be getting something different in the near future, not too far away. But there are so many varieties of bananas, it's crazy. I have one that grows on my property that I've actually started cultivating. It tastes like a banana at first bite, but the aftertaste, the undertone of the banana has kind of an apple-y flavor to it. It's really good. The only problem with it compared to a regular banana is it's got a seed a little smaller than a pea. So, it's like grapes, seedless grapes versus seeded grapes. The seed kind of changes the eating experience a little bit. I love bananas. All right, let's see what our two little...
Sorry I disappeared on you.
That's all right, my man. Let's get back to the video.
It was my oldest ringing me up to let me know how his driving lesson went this morning.
Now, this is your oldest son?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to learn a little bit about Dan here. How old is your oldest son?
He turns 20 this year in March.
And he's just learning to drive?
In the UK, you have to be 17, and he had no interest in it. But now he's off in university. He suddenly discovered that buses suck.
Right. So is Daddy going to have to purchase a car soon?
And Daddy's having to pay for everything. So this will be no different.
That's what being a dad is all about, bro. That's what being a dad is all about. They don't call us providers for no reason. All right, well, good luck to your son, and I hope his first accident is only a minor fender bender, because we all eventually have one.
Don't say that. I haven't had one. I've been driving.
Really?
I was 17. I am now 45, and I have not had an accident.
You've never been hit by anyone?
I've always managed to get out the way.
Ah, fuck, nice. I've
had some close calls, but I've always managed to dodge it.
Yeah, dude, the closest I've come to dying are two car accidents. Not my fault, either one of them. I got fat checks on both of them, but I would give that money back in a heartbeat to not have had the accident. The second one, really, I'm still 2 years later healing from. All right, so good luck to Dan's eldest boy on his driving lessons, driving test. Good luck, my friend.
With, that specific production burned down over the course of 2 years, it's literally an attack is what it appears to be. Like by all rights, it's guerrilla warfare for, if the media was reporting on it, it would be guerrilla warfare. And people are like, well, shit, they're attacking these facilities clearly. Right. So,
right.
But yeah, that's gotta be it. And then not only that, but there's a reason that they've patented all the seeds, in preparation of this major food shortage that's going to be coming.
Yeah, is anyone aware of this guerrilla-style attack on U.S. grain storage facilities? Which I believe he's trying to blame on the Monsanto Corporation, who has patented seeds. Like, how the fuck do these guys come up with this shit?
He's talking about the fact that the US is having to dip into its grain reserves, because the US holds, like it does with oil, it holds a grain reserve.
Absolutely.
Because Russia is blocking exports of grain from Ukraine, the world's largest exporter of grain, there's a shortage of grain. So the US has been dipping into its reserves to try and keep the price from shooting up so a loaf of bread doesn't suddenly become $50.
Right.
They're making it so that the price increase comes in stages.
Right.
So that people don't panic and lose their shit because all of a sudden their bread is $50.
Right.
And the business he's talking about, or they've been planning it and everything, is because we, human beings, being sometimes relatively sensible, have established a doomsday bunker where there are samples of all the different plant life in the world.
Right.
It's not complete yet, but they're slowly building up the things. And this is located in the Arctic Circle, and it's sealed and guarded and everything. It's for in case we do anything to screw the planet, that we can actually reintroduce the things that we've destroyed.
Which, of course, makes total sense if you have a mind that sees the future and plans for it versus clowns like these two guys. One thing all these guys seem to have in common is they're always reacting to something. Like they never see future potential. They never see what's coming at them. They're always reacting in the moment. They're never prepared for anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a product of this conspiratorial mindset, or if this conspiratorial mindset is a product of just having no long-term foresight. I'm trying to figure that one out.
Up shortly once the economy tanks. That way, you know, so if you control the food, you control the entire population of an area. You know what I mean? Like where everybody that's dependent on the food production of a specific, you know, company or whatever the case may be, it's if you control the food, you control the people. I've seen this in effect, you know, in an institutional setting. The worst thing you can do is be a kitchen worker, because people get pretty upset about their food, right? So, but by controlling the food, you can control the institution. And I witnessed that firsthand, you know, on a microcosmic level of the people that did control the food. And that's, you know, that's the goal. So they patent all the seeds. The seeds that you can buy, they don't produce beyond
for
the third
anybody
generation
that's not
for
aware,
a reason, so that you have to
for anybody not aware what where he got this insight, sounds exactly like a prison.
Yeah, it does actually. He did. I think he said he did 12 years in prison. Burn the corporate fiction. It was either 6 years or 12 years. Does anybody know how long he's been out of prison for?
Not sure. But it also could be he's talking about, do you remember during the height of COVID when everyone was panic buying like a bunch of idiots and caused the shelves to empty?
Yeah.
And various supermarkets put restrictions on you could only buy X number of a product. They wouldn't let you buy, like, 500 rolls of toilet paper. You could only buy X. He may be talking about that as well and viewing that as controlling the food and everything. And it was like, no, they had to do that because people were being dumb and just buying everything.
Well, he was talking about the kitchen, the people preparing the food.
Oh, I missed that bit. Sorry, Hank.
Yep,
yeah, you're definitely right. He's talking about prison.
Yes, and if you're in the kitchen crew in prison, you're in a very volatile spot. It can be very good for your time in prison, from what I understand, or it could make your time worse.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's the main commodity in there is food. That's the one thing that everybody's not getting enough of. They're getting enough to meet their nutritional needs, but they're not getting enough food compared to the overeating they were doing when they were outside of prison. Most of us eat too much. That's why, one of the big problems in the third world is because we're not eating right, and we're, on the whole, in the main, we're a population that's abnormally high in overweight people. Mm-hmm. Flo B asks in the comment section, what is the microcosmic level? Micro means small, macro means large. So you have macroeconomics and microeconomics. So when he says micro, he means small scale, which again lends to the idea that we're talking about a kitchen in prison, which is a microeconomic level.
Yes, but the control of food in a prison is not a good example of what he's trying to talk about would be Somalia. The warlords took control of all the foods, so they took control of all the population.
Right. I've said it I've said it for a while. Going back to the end of World War II, if the United States had focused on supplying food to the world instead of arming the world, we would own the world right now. We made a decisionary mistake there, because food is actually, you can gain better control over a population with food than you can with guns and bullets. So
sometimes. The problem is, of course, most countries ban U.S. exports of food.
Exports or imports?
You cannot export U.S. food to most countries.
Really?
Yep. Your food is so abysmal that
because
no one will allow it.
Got you, because of the nutritional content. Okay.
No, it's the chemicals and shit you add to your food are banned in about 90% of the Western world.
Really? I was not aware of that.
Your fertilizers, pesticides are banned. The things that they do to the beef cows, like when they constantly, from the day they're born, they're injected with antibiotics and growth hormones.
Yep.
You can't do that anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, I don't cotton to that stuff. In fact, in Southeast Asia, the majority of the food we eat, we grow ourselves. I wish I was able to do that in the U.S., but I don't have the size of property I have here that I have over there. Although I do want to get set up in the U.S. an aquaponic system, because you can literally taste the difference between a fish. Like if you get two different farm raised fishes, be they, salmon, tilapia, as long as they're both the same fish, you can tell the quality of the water that the fish was raised in by its taste.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised with just a few acres what you could, how self-sufficient you could be.
Oh, you can look, on an acre of land, you can raise a lot of food. Especially if you pay attention to the. I think the most underutilized level in farming is 60 feet off the ground, which is where your dates, your palms, all your taller fruit-producing trees are. Everything's kept under that 60-foot canopy, and there's a lot of plant life that can be added to that height.
Yeah, it depends on the environment.
Yep.
But you don't get away with that too well in Texas.
Texas is kind of a tree poor area, right? Like, I remember
the trees are trees that got to get along with less water. The ones that you're talking about need a lot more water in their availability. Like we've got pecan trees for a good tall tree, but they can go a season without water.
The pecan can.
The pecan tree. It's not going to produce nuts. Yeah. Go ahead.
You were breaking up a little bit there. The pecan is actually a pretty popular fruit-bearing, nut-bearing tree all through the South. There's a lot of pecan on the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, because it grows in such a wide variety of climates and thrives in those climates.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was as drought tolerant as you said it was. I might try to plant some of them. All right, let's get a little more of this dynamic duo of foolishness.
Purchase more, and so that the owners of the patents can restrict the sale of those seeds when the time is right. I mean, that's clearly what's going on. So, but yeah, man. So hopefully, let's hop off that topic.
I did want to touch on something. I hit on it, blew some minds the other night, especially Christos de Leopolis.
Okay.
And
blew some minds equals absolute bullshit.
I had it totally figured out.
Say that again, Hank.
When he says blue information that blew some minds means the information is complete bullshit.
Pretty much, probably, more than likely.
Information that blew people's minds. Wouldn't that just be the telephone number of the local hooker?
Yeah, that could be it too, because most of their minds are in between their legs. At least these two guys are. Walter, Texas says, I loved raising hogs back in the day. Bro, I have some hogs on my farm in Southeast Asia, and
yeah,
the last time I slaughtered, I finished 2 hogs on nothing but mangoes for I think about 2.5 weeks. All they ate were mangoes. The meat was fantastic. And I got a buddy here. I got a buddy here in the States who will finish hogs on nothing but acorns, and that pork is phenomenal. Love a good pig.
Yeah, and pigs don't need much space.
Right, they don't. They don't at all. Yeah, you can pen them up pretty good as long as you're feeding them. They are highly sun sensitive too. They'll burn, their skin will sunburn quicker than a human being, which is why you find them in wooded areas until the sun goes down.
Yeah, but you provide them shade, they're going to stick to it. And
yeah, if you provide them shade in the form of fruit-bearing trees, they won't wander too far. And they do a nice job rooting around the trees, which keeps the soil broke up and not compacted and allows good water penetration around them.
And takes care of a lot of things like grubs.
Yeah. Yep, they love that shit. Yeah, hogs are really good on the farm. Although if you let them get out of control, they can get kind of destructive.
Yeah, you don't want them. We got a problem here with feral hogs.
Yeah, down in Texas. Yeah. Some big ones too.
Yeah, but they're good eating.
Yeah, they are, man. You like a wild hog better than store-bought pork?
I don't like the wild boar as much, but the sows is good eating. I wouldn't say better than the store-bought, but it's worth dressing out and butchering.
Yeah, I like a wild sow better than a store-bought pork. You're right, though. There's something about the testosterone in a matured male, even in cows. It just kind of changes the flavor of the meat.
Man, all right. So, you remember when I was talking about that DMT trip, right? Okay. And then those entities, once I stopped them from fucking visually distracting me, then they were like off in the shadows or around the corners and shit, taunting me and mocking me and trying to antagonize me, right? Okay. And I still didn't let them. Then out here on this plane, the exact same fucking thing played out, bro, with a certain name who shall not be mentioned and his little.
And so, wait, let me get this straight. So you're saying you've seen that in your...
I want to have another little listen to our boys' DMT trip. Fucking weirdos. These guys think they're hallucinations on drugs are somehow translatable into reality. Dude, just get the feather fucking dress up and come out with your hooked stick and claim to be some kind of fucking shaman.
And mocking me and trying to... Those are... I stopped him talking about that DMT out, man. All right, so you remember when I was talking about that DMT trip, right? Okay. And that those entities, once I stopped them from fucking visually distracting me, then they were like off in the shadows or around the corners and shit, taunting me and mocking me and trying to antagonize me, right? Okay. And I still didn't let them. Then out here on this plane, the exact same fucking thing played out, bro, with a certain name who shall not be mentioned and his little...
And so, wait, let me get this straight. So you're saying you've seen that in your trip, and you've seen the same thing play out?
Yeah, the same thing played out on this realm. Like the as above, so below type thing. I was like,
so you witnessed it, that's actually, so for anybody in the audience or tuning in who doesn't know this, I've been a student of the occult since I can remember, really, but seriously, since I was about 22. I'm 33 now. And for anybody who has misconception, for anybody who has misconceptions about occultism just means hidden from sight, hidden from the public. It's esoteric. Occult is not good. It's not bad. It just is. And
well, like when a doctor says you have an occult tumor, it doesn't mean it's from the devil. It just means that it's hidden.
Right. Exactly. That's actually a perfect example. So when I say I've been a student of the occult, I've been a student of the ancient wisdom teachings for, over a decade now. And that's one of the primary principles of when you talk about the Hermetic law principle of correspondence, as above, so below. Literally, our thoughts impregnate the higher realms above us. And then those thoughts, they go through the planes and then come back down. And it's actually a process that I can explain in another video. Actually, I want to do a whole video on esotericism at some point.
I'm calling bullshit on that. Your thoughts, burn the corporate fiction, are feeble and don't affect shit. Now, the thoughts of a Newton or an Einstein or a George Washington, a Thomas Jefferson, those thoughts have impact in the real world. Not because they went up somewhere and came back down, because the thinker also put his thoughts into action. It's not something that fucking happens magically. You guys need to get off the fucking dope. That would help you think more clear, and then maybe your thoughts may have some actual impact in the world. Occult, contrary to the way our delusional boy defined it, is defined as supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, or phenomenon. An occult society is a secret society to study alchemy or the occult in general. As an adjective, the first definition was the noun form. As an adjective, it means of, involving, or relating to supernatural, mystical, or magical powers or phenomenon. As a verb, it means cut off from view by interposing something. So the definition of occult our boy just gave is just some shit that he made up to make it more palatable to people who would rightly have a negative reaction to the term.
And I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I'm pretty in tune with medical terminology. I've never heard of a tumor being referred to as occult.
You know, I've never heard that term either. Not that I know every term in the medical field, but occult
Kind
tumor.
of.
Let me look that up.
I'm betting they're using their word salad on it for the root words bullshit.
An occult primary tumor, according to cancer.gov, is a cancer in which the site of the primary original tumor cannot be found. Most metastases from occult primary tumors are found in the head and neck. So an occult primary tumor would be a tumor that metastasized into another tumorous growth, but the original tumor can't be found. So, you know, that's
okay.
Sovereign Soul's use is not very accurate.
Well, it comes back down to
also his definition of what it means in terms of the religious meaning is way off.
Yeah, completely off. Like if you because they're going to start talking about magic, and you know, all occult talk eventually strays into the arena of magic. And from a Christian standpoint, the Old Testament, New Testament scriptures, when the term magic is referred to, it's not spell casting, it's not incantation, it's not that stuff. It literally means the art of unbelief. So any practice or belief system that would lead you away from the Christian doctrine is what would be considered magic, because magic is the art of unbelief from a Christian standpoint. I know it has other meanings, but I just want to make that clear to our Bible believers out there.
Remanifests, and that's what the law of attraction is. That's what magic is. That's what prayer is when you send something forth into the aether with absolute faith and understanding that it will happen without a doubt in your mind. All magic is essentially is. So people hear the word magic and they think hokey pocus, like wands and hair.
It's hocus pocus, not hokey pocus. That's the little dance you and your dad do to warm up for the show, the hokey pokey. Here we go. We're going to get into magic. He's going to define what magic is. He just said when you let something out into the aether and you 100% believe it. First off, there's no fucking such thing as the aether. That's about as real as a mermaid or a unicorn. It's a thing of mythos. And the 100% belief in something and it manifesting in the world is not, it's not even, we're not talking magic here. This is mind science. It's that whole understanding of positive thinking, which, you know, it's literally fake it till you make it. This is mind science. It was intermixed with Christianity after mind science congealed itself, and it's literally a turn-of-the-century practice. It originated in the late 1890s and into the early 1900s, and kind of pushed its way into, what was her name, Blavet, and New Age spiritualism, which is a cancer of the mind presently.
Yeah, it's all the Wiccan bullshit.
Yep, exactly.
Created in Victorian era. It's, I mean, I grew up and lived not far from the home of the Druids, the actual Druids.
Right.
You know, literally, we will see them walking around in their robes. All the Druids, everywhere, all came from one place, one little island. So, yeah, I'm kind of familiar with that because it's literally my local history.
And it's a relatively new phenomenon. When you
no. The Druids I'm talking about, you know, the ones that built Stonehenge. It's them.
Okay, so you're
actual druids, not the modern nonsense crap that people try and portray.
Right. So you know the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Right. The druids, who were never allowed to write anything down, they had to memorize everything.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the ones who write today.
Yeah, they all came down from a tribe called the Morna Mapi. And they lived exclusively and were brought up exclusively on the island of Anglesey.
Gotcha.
And then they travelled all over the place.
Right. Right.
Harry Potter and stuff, and magic is creating a change in the material world through a metaphysical process. It's basically your thought charged with emotion and driven by will, and it impregnates the ether and affects basically the big web that we all live in such a way that it draws this event to you or manifests it essentially. So it's interesting to hear you firsthand see something taking place in the higher realms before it manifested in the lower realms, because that would actually happen. That's why I totally think that happened, because that's exactly what I've studied. It would have to take place up there before it took place down here.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I put that out, Christos was like, "Oh fuck, wow, yeah, that totally makes sense," and it did, because it was almost like the same thing, but I handled it the same way. It's like nothing to me. It means nothing. Go, stop.
Right.
Quit wasting your efforts.
Right. Just brush him off, and that's the worst thing you could have done for him. You know what I mean? And that's for sure. So, all right. So we had 5. Now we're back down to 3, and I guess I'll start introducing the topic. So I came across this. Let me give you guys a little backstory. I was going through Facebook Reels or whatever, and somebody had posted a video about this. What is it? CQRS. Hold on, let me look. What is CSRQSM software, right? And I found that interesting. So I went to research it, because that's what I do. When I find interesting things that people bring up, I go and look into and see if there's any validity. So when I typed in that word, the CSRQSM, into the search engine, barely any results come up at all.
So somehow
it's not a word. It's a
Go ahead.
It's an acronym. It's not a fucking word. But Sparky can believe what Sparky wants to believe.
Right. Do you know what the anachronism stands for?
That one, I think that's the AI that Chili's using for his
command
for his
query responsibility segregation.
Oh, very nice, Dan. Very nice. I think it is attached to the AI that Chili is using to write his legal stuff. The story around it that Burn the Corporate Fiction is going to come up with here, I did look into it. It's complete fucking, it's another conspiracy theory. It's relatively new.
It's disappointing.
It's relatively new, which is why there isn't much negative feedback on it yet. I mean, this is burgeoning new conspiracy theory. But for some reason, the lack of negative commentary on it somehow for Burn the Corporate Fiction validates the conspiracy theory for him. It's really fucking weird.
Right. So that for me is a red flag. I'm a serious researcher. I'm good at researching. It's a gift I have, and I've been doing it for years.
This fuckhead wouldn't know what research was if it ran him over in the fucking street. Like, he has no fucking idea. Dan, Hank,
why
when
is he...
Go ahead.
I'm trying to work out why he's... I can't get it. No, I don't understand it. I can't understand why he's trying to do this.
Neither can I. I think it's because, look, where did we start? We start with Dopey Dad's account getting suspended for once again giving medical misinformation. Then we jumped to Monsanto patented seeds, and now then we talked a little bit about magic, and now we're at AI.
Well, you had You had to get the mushroom trip in there telling them.
Hey, Coded, if you look backstage, you will see an actual diagram of what he's trying to talk about that explains it in really simple terms. There you go, folks. It's that simple.
I've done some research on this, and I think it's very bad. It always ends up bad. Just look at your movies like Terminator. And
I think that's where they're going to go with this, is like some fucking Skynet thing. That's the other thing I'm starting to notice with all these guys. Their shit is always attached to some fucking Hollywood blockbuster movie.
Mm-hmm. But this is literally what their conspiracy is about. It's a simple algorithm for how an AI responds.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I use this maybe with work, maybe 600 to 700 times per day.
Right.
If you got the time, go check out Fat Electricians, how 8 Marines defeated an AI. It's fucking hilarious. And it's DARPA was coming up with an AI that was supposed to be able to go deploy with Marines and be able to use as a sentry tool. It had to learn what humans were and could spot humans coming from a much further distance. And for the first 6 days, they had the AI observing the Marines and their day-to-day, so they could so the programmers could help define what human was. And then at the end of that, the programmers challenged the Marines to come in from 1,000 yards and touch the robot without it, or the AI without it finding them. And they were very successful in very unconventional ways.
Give the name of that again. Is that a YouTube video or is that?
Yes. The YouTuber is Fat Electrician.
Okay.
Actually, do you want to show it? I'll find it real quick.
Yeah, sure. If you want to, why not?
All right.
It's related to the topic. Walter Texas writes, "Our good work and good associations, good values, all help bring us good things and a good life." Sorry, I butchered that up so much reading it. Yes, I would agree with that, Walter. Who also writes, "Visiting the widows, orphans, and sick bless us greatly." It does, man. It does. And a big part of it is just when you do those things, when you visit the disempowered people that are around us a lot closer than we realize. When you visit them and assist them, you begin to realize how much power you have in yourself to positively affect the lives of others. And you don't really have to give them anything beyond your time. And to visit.
I put the link in private chat, and I'm also putting it in regular chat for folks.
Are you able to... Okay, I can bring that up. All right, sweet. I like this. Let me get that switched out. There we go. Bring that over to here. Is Marines Outsmart DARPA's Advanced AI is the title. The channel is The Fat Electrician. Hank has put a link for it in the chat if you want to take a look at it after the broadcast. I will, after the broadcast ends, add it to the description box so that you can get a peek at it if you want to, and in case the chat is not accessible. What did I do? Okay, I don't think I screwed it up. Here we go. Chromium tab. Marines outsmart DARPA. Let's take a little peek.
By popular demand after this tweet went viral on the internet, today we're talking about that time that 8 Marines went toe-to-toe against DARPA's artificial intelligence in an epic battle of wits and won. Inconceivable! Okay, so here's the deal. That tweet is a picture of half a page from a book that hasn't even come out yet. That book is For Battlegrounds by Paul Scher, and it comes out next month, February 2023. And I actually reached out and got a hold of Paul to get the whole story, and here's what I found out. Once upon a time in 2019, DARPA had a program known as Squad X. The overall goal of this program was to be able to integrate an autonomous AI with an infantry unit, RoboGrunt. They wanted to make RoboGrunt. Basically, they were going to take an artificial intelligence, shove it inside of a flying drone or a little car drone or inside of a robot dog, and it was going to follow the grunts out into battle and act as an early warning system. Using cameras and sensors, it would be able to identify enemies from way further out than a human ever could. Not a terrible idea. So DARPA got to work. They built the robots, they built the AI, but then they actually had to train the AI how to identify people. And apparently the best way to do this was by just actually doing it. So they brought in 8 Marines for a week to help train this artificial intelligence. And for the first 6 days, it went great. Basically, the AI just watched the Marines walk around and do things a human would do, while the computer engineers helped teach the algorithm what it was looking at. But then on the 7th day, DARPA would make a classic tactical error by challenging the Marines. Apparently, with only 6 days of training, they wanted to see how well their artificial intelligence would stack up against the Marine Corps' 100% organic cran-fed fuckery. I'm gonna give you a hint, it didn't go well. The challenge was they were going to set the robot up out in the open, and the Marines had to start from like 1,000 yards away, and they had to sneak up on the robot and touch it without ever being identified as a human. As soon as they said go, the first 2 Marines took off doing somersaults for the entire 1,000 yards. They made it all the way to the robot completely unidentified. And I can only assume that it is at this point that the computer engineers realized that they were going to have a bad day, because it only got more ridiculous from there. Another Marine went out in the woods, stripped all the branches off of a fir tree, dressed himself up like a tree, and then slowly, and I quote, walked like a fir tree all the way to the robot. And then my personal favorite example, 2 Marines found a large box and then proceeded to do the old Metal Gear Solid trick where they use the Amazon Prime print camouflage to sneak all the way up to the robot and touch it. According to the author, you could actually hear them audibly giggling from inside the box the entire time. And this raises one very important question. How mad were these engineers? So I asked the author.
Well, in this case, I mean, it's a DARPA project, so it's just experimental, and they're trying to push the bounds. I don't know, I can't speak to the engineers. I mean, they might not have appreciated it, maybe they did appreciate someone highlighting these problems. The program manager who relayed the anecdote to me was really pleased because they learned something. Right, they learned about the limitations of the system, and you'd really much rather find that out in a training environment than when you do it overseas in a war zone and the enemy does it. But it's good that they found it out early rather than before they'd invested hundreds of millions of dollars into this.
Okay, fine. Well, if he's not going to speak for the engineers, that leaves it open to my interpretation, and I think it went something like this. I hate them. In conclusion, I think the big takeaway from this story is that artificial intelligence is nowhere near ready to go toe-to-toe with the American grunt on the battlefield. Because regardless of how smart it is or how smart it gets, it's never going to be able to figure out what the grunts are doing until they're already doing it. Because the grunts don't know what they're doing until they're doing it. And you can't be 3 steps ahead of somebody that never knows where they're going. Because at the end of the day, historically speaking, the American military's only ever had one plan, and that's to show up and improvise. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Show up and improvise, right, Hank? What a fucking great closing line that was. Yeah, if you can't show up and improvise, you might as well just be a scripted program.
See, the problem with all these things where they're going on about AIs and all the rest of it, yeah, they're bought into the media hype. There is not one single AI in existence today. None.
I would agree with that. And actually, I would say the closest thing you have to an AI would be fucking Google Maps. because Google Maps can analyze data and change your route on the fly to avoid. It is responding to data. It is responding to data. If there's if the shortest route is to go 5 miles down the highway, but at 2 miles down there's a car collision and all the traffic is blocked, Google Maps will reroute you the shortest possible distance around the car accident. That's reacting to stimuli. You might not agree, but I would say Google Maps is really the closest thing we have to a functioning AI.
I can think of some other examples that might be closer. Just in a lot of people's homes now, you have an Alexa.
Yeah, which is still about 10,000 miles from being an AI.
Oh, true. I'm not saying it's an AI, but I think it's a step closer than a few steps closer than the Google Maps.
Well, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to build a brain that thinks better than the brain that built it. You know, that's the limitation is the brain that built it. You're not going to get better than that.
The biggest problem isn't making one that thinks better. It's making one that thinks.
Period. Yes, absolutely. Because I've had this argument for decades, being a philosophy major. Every computer runs on logic, and logic is the absence of thought. It's purely formulaic. There is no thinking in logic.
Also, you never actually want to make an AI.
I would agree with that. If it were possible to make it, you wouldn't want to make it.
Yep. Because you make an AI, it's got the ability to turn around and say no. I ain't doing that. I ain't listening to you. You people are my enemies.
Absolutely, and it's really missing the main component that human beings have, which, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, I kind of touched on it in the last broadcast, our emotional content is a big part of our intellect. And you're not going to have that intellectual component in machine thought. Machine thought will never be compassionate, and that's a fucking problem.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want to create something that can think, would be very hard to eliminate, and has absolutely no moral compass at all?
Right, because we have people that are like that, and they're fucking bad enough.
Yeah, but they're easy to kill.
Right, that's right. Right, thankfully. Yeah,
you let this thing loose on the internet? Yeah, good luck with getting rid of it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it'd be worse than fucking roaches.
But while we have a slight pause, I've got to disappear off, as I promised I would help somebody out.
That's cool. I appreciate you helping me out. I will see you at 6:30. I may wrap this up because I got a couple little things to button up work-wise before I commit to being over at your program, so I'm not distracted.
Yeah, I got... Miss Mandy asked me if I'd come up and give my opinion on a couple of bits, so I've got to go do that before. So
yeah, go get that done, bro. Tell Miss Mandy we said hi over here at Coded Friend.
Will do.
All right, bro.
Catch you later.
Later. Hank, you sticking with me, or are you out too? Oh, Hank may have fallen asleep. We may have bored Hank. Hank, there he is.
No, I'm working on getting a video sent over to Welsh so he can torment Miss Mandy with it.
Cool. Finish that up. Jump back in if you want. If not, drop out, and I will catch you over at Welsh News Network at 6:30.
I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Chime in whenever you feel like it, Hank.
Alrighty.
So now that we got to the AI thing, I think I'll drop out on the Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. I did want to touch really quickly on our, my favorite little princess, the Zetetic warrior. He had a little thing about getting caught in the riptide in his last broadcast, and I want to see if I can find that really quickly and just go over it a little bit, because it does show how he is subconsciously revealing that he's not in control in his own life, and he's doing an imitation of a bobbing apple caught in a wave that has no control over its final destination. So I will.
Yeah, I think your little princess there is dumb enough to get caught in a riptide in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. He is that fucking dumb. It's like amazing how dumb this dude is. Like, I went over to Paul Unslaved last night, literally muted the volume so I couldn't hear anything they were saying. And I just popped a couple comments in about Z that weren't particularly nice, and I could tell they were responding to me, but I had the volume turned down so I couldn't hear what they were saying. And I just kept repeating the same 4 or 5 comments over and over again. And I know I was driving them crazy. Timo Kusela says Paul Yu is not human to debate. Yeah, I don't think he's really capable of doing anything but shouting over people and just berate. He just seems to berate people. I mean, even the people he claims to, even the people he claims to like, you know, when the people on his own panel he shits all over for some fucked up reason. I don't think he's capable of doing
because
much.
he's.
Go ahead. Huh?
He's only happy by doing what he thinks makes him look better than everybody else. And if he doesn't have somebody outside the group to do that to, he's going to turn on the inside of the group to do it too.
Absolutely. Hit the nail right on the head. I think that there are a couple people that he intentionally keeps on his panel just to kick in the ass when there's not someone else to do it to. So let me see if I got the right spot here, and we'll get a little of the Princess Z, this effeminate little twink.
MFT. I'm going to figure out what that stands for one day, MFT. I'm going to figure it out. Maybe you told me and I just missed it, but much respect to you too. White Life. Good to see you, big dog. White Life's a good man to have in your Phoenix, Joshua.
Oh,
welcome
he does
to
make
Z
some
show.
Weird comments
smiley
about
face.
bears here too, and how he likes bears.
Good to see you.
Not
Jeff Cooper.
Not wildlife bears.
One of my first, subscribers. One of my very first supporters.
The man bear.
Yeah, the Blue Oyster Cult Bears.
Max Maximus.
Or Blue Oyster Club
Good to
Bears.
see you, big dog.
Right.
I know you've been trying to join. I know you've been having technical difficulties, Mac. Me, you've been having some technical here. And when you get those tech difficulties worked out, we'll talk. 0.5.
The background is like newspaper cartoons hanging, sealing the floor on the wall. I wonder what that's hiding, if it's blood spatter.
Or is it just like what I use is just an artificial green screen.
Cartoons?
There's photo images like that I can pull up.
Oh no, that's real cartoons. You can kind of see them blow, or
no, I mean I can the deck that I always use. That's just photo of a deck I found on the internet. Very impressive deck, but I chose it because I wanted to tongue-in-cheek sending unsolicited deck pics to people.
Gotcha. I like the whole deck pick thing that you have going on.
Oh, it's a new name here. Welcome, much love. Guitar Bear, good to see you.
Oh, here we go, the
before
bear.
and elsewhere. Francos Lagrange.
And he is stoned as fucking can be. Just look at them eyes.
Taco Slice,
They're
good to
all
see
black.
you. Squirrel. Freedom Grower, Dick Freedom Grower, my man in the house. Good to see
They're
you, Dick.
glassed over, though.
Hope all's going
big
well.
time. I think that's why he lost his job, because of drug use.
Bane Bear.
I don't think it was immunization.
Good to see you again, Bane Bear.
My opinion.
Keep going through the chat.
Bear stuff.
It says Sunday Fun Day. You know, I'll be expanding my content more in the future.
Oh, this is fun.
You know?
He's going to go out into the streets.
I've been saying this. Some of you probably heard it, but I'm looking to take my content to the street. I'm looking to break out of this echo chamber that they have us in. I'm trying to take it to the people for what it's worth,
like
man.
Redheaded stepchild.
Oh, dude, he's going to get the shit kicked out of him. If he brings Paul Unslaved shitty little attitude with him out into the street, he's a Jersey boy. Where are you going to go? Fucking Newark? Where are you going to fucking go? Are you going to jump over to Philly and talk this shit in Philadelphia? I can't wait to see it till he goes out into the fucking street. Timo Kusela has noticed that he's in a darkened room and sweating like hell. Yeah. Another meffed up.
I think it'll be interesting. Brian O'Shea in the house.
Brian O'Shea is a man that
we do live
fawned over the beauty.
Kim Ray, nice to see you again, Kim Ray. Locked in elevator music.
I might not have the right video here.
What are the possibilities? Welcome. Good to see you again. I like that name.
Holy fuck. Do you have to announce everyone that's there?
So after I'm done, I'm going to drop the link in.
Oh, when you only got about a dozen people watching, it's easy.
And your chat isn't moving at all.
Your voice.
Come on, where's your Riptide bullshit?
Surrender to God. Because if you're not surrendering to God, you're going to surrender to something else.
Oh,
because if you're not surrendering
Hold on. Let's do this instead.
Once you realize that the only true way to navigate these waters is to surrender.
Oh, this is the Riptide one.
Surrender to God. Because if you're not surrendering to God, you're going to surrender to something else. Because you do not have the power in and of yourself. Trust me.
So if you're not surrendering to God, you're going to surrender to something else. Because according to Z, you don't have the power within yourself. So let's take a little peek at something that, you know, when this guy talks about surrendering to God, it really confuses me, because this is what he had to say about God. I wonder what God he's surrendering to. It's sure not the God of the Scripture, because this is what he has to say.
He's dyslexic. He's just surrendered to a dog.
It could be, man. I mean, it wouldn't fucking surprise me. I don't think that's the right video. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, there we go. All right, so you heard what he just said about surrendering to God. Let me bring this up. Oops. I want to share screen. Share screen. Chromium tab. There we go. Here we go. Here's a little of the. I don't have connection better. There's a little of the Zetetic Z princess.
I would say
this is his idea, I guess, of surrendering to God.
Idolatrous, little baby children of Egypt. Those little wicked baby children who would not bow down to you. You know, the little babies in the cradle. When you killed all them firstborn babies of Egypt, when you did that, that was merciful. That was merciful. Those babies deserved it. Fuck them. Fuck them little Egyptian babies. Fuck them. Who gives a fuck? You're merciful, and I love that about you.
Fuck.
And then when you showed your mercy,
exactly.
When you showed your mercy to your people, your chosen ones, your chosen.
This is one of his first videos,
beautiful
actually.
People. When you showed your mercy by letting them wandering around the fucking desert for 40 years, that must have been real fun. When you showed your mercy, when you took them out of that horrible bondage that they were under, and then you just brought them to a fucking desert and left them there, that was merciful. That was really merciful. And I thank you for that. I wish I was there. Me.
So this is the guy who's telling you got to surrender to God, who, let me see where this falls in the, this was three months ago, he's God mocking. Today, he's telling you to surrender to God. I don't think this dude has a fucking clue what he's talking about. And when he talks, it's just to ensnare people. It's not to benefit anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that's just total God mocking. What good is that shit? Fucking dope, this guy. Let me get back to that original video. You know, I know that on the whole, in the main, the general public, there's not a whole lot of devotion to our tradition of Christianity in this country. And if you're not there, you're not there. I'm not knocking anybody. A word of advice, though, what you just saw Z doing, that type of God mocking, I would definitely steer clear of that shit. No matter how you feel, no matter what you think, if you find yourself in a position where you're thinking that way, you should do whatever you can to extract yourself from that type of thinking, because it is unhealthy and detrimental to you in many ways.
If you're not surrendering to God, you're surrendering to this tyrannical government. This government that...
So if he's mocking God, he's not surrendered to God. His conclusion is he himself must be surrendered to this tyrannical system, which he is, because he's behaving like a fucking tyrant, especially when he's in the same room with Paul Unslaved.
Wants to take the place of God. This government that's telling you what to do, where to go, how to think, how to be. If you're not surrendering to God, you're surrendering to them, whoever they are. If you're not surrendering to God, you're surrendering to some corporation, some corporate structure that's going to get you into your 9 to 5, that's going to get you out of yourself and onto them. You're going to be one of these drone slaves, living for the almighty fiat. If you're not surrendering to God, you're going to be surrendering to some false religion, to some 501c3 quote-unquote church, to some pastor.
W124 Mercedes may have just nailed it right on the head. Z prays and surrenders to his heroin and meth needle every time it calls. I think you might have just summed it all up there.
Who has no other interest than his own self-aggrandizement. If you're not surrendering to God, you're going to be surrendering to your wife, to your husband.
Is that a bad thing?
If you're not surrendering to God, you're going to be surrendering.
Yeah, exactly. You're not you should be surrendering to your loved ones. Surrendering isn't giving up control. It's putting, especially if you're a husband, you should put the needs of your wife and children before your own. I mean, that's essentially the role a husband accepts. Whether you realize it or not, you're going to be put in that position if you have a wife and a child. There are many things I would like to do, I would like to have, but I put those things aside so I can make sure I get the things I need provided to my wife and child, and I have a solid relationship with them. Like, I would like to continue to travel, but I got to put all that on hold till my son is older. And then when my son gets older, I'll take my wife and travel. I'll take my son and travel. When my son goes to college, my wife and I will be doing a lot of traveling, believe me. But in the near term, in the now, until those responsibilities are filled to raise my son up in a right way, I have to surrender to the needs of my son. So I think you're right, Hank. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
To the powers of this world, call them whatever they are. Spirits, principalities, the rulers in dark places. Whatever your concept of whatever these controllers are, who and what they may be. If you're not surrendering to God, you're going to be surrendering to them. You have to get over yourself. You have to humble yourself. You can't do it. I had to learn this the hard way. It wasn't until I tried, in and of my own power, to fight this world in so many ways.
What the fuck is this fight this world bullshit? You refused to get immunized, which you knew in advance you would have to do if it was asked of you to do it by your employer. You work in healthcare. It's a pretty standard contract, part of your employment contract, that you have to keep yourself up to speed on current immunizations and new immunizations. So this guy didn't want to do that. Fine, he didn't want to do that. And what he did instead was blame everyone but himself because he wouldn't take a shot. He lost his job, he couldn't pay his bills, and he lost all the material possessions he had. And he lost his material possessions not because the world is tyrannical or the world did something bad to him, because he bought shit on credit. He didn't save and pay. He bought shit on credit, lost his job knowing he had future payments to make, refused to take an immunization, which resulted in his job loss, and then his material possessions got taken away because he couldn't fucking pay for them anymore. That's not the world kicking your ass. That's dumb decisions you made coming back to fucking haunt you. I understand we buy shit on credit. I don't. I save, then I buy. Saved me a lot of fucking money and a lot of heartache in the long run.
Stubbornly, egoically. It was only until I was broken by that rip current. I tried to fight the current for years until it broke me down and I surrendered. It was only until I surrendered and let the current take me wherever it wanted me that I actually found who I am and found my power.
Hold on, let's check that statement again.
Wherever it wanted me, I surrendered. Years until it broke me down and I surrendered.
So the current machine, culture, the establishment, the government, broke him down to the point where he surrendered and let the current take him wherever it took him. Listen to what he has to say.
It was only until I surrendered.
Just more
Let the
babble
current
to
take
show
me
that he's not
wherever it wanted
responsible
me.
for where he's at today.
That actually found.
And actually, by his babble, he is showing that he's responsible. Because the system, he surrendered to the system, which he fucking hates.
Found who I am. And found my power. All right, y'all. That's my wrap for today.
Look, if you're caught in a riptide, which was what his analogy was here, and we'll end on this one. I'm sure Hank will have a little bit to say about this. If you're caught in a riptide, you don't just ball up and float. You don't fight the riptide, meaning you don't try to swim against it back to shore. What you do is you swim perpendicular to the tide, the outgoing riptide, 90 degrees to that, which happens to be parallel to the shore. So you don't just give up and let the current take you where it's going to take you. You swim parallel to the shore. That accelerates you getting out of the riptide, the pull of the tide, and you're not fighting against the tide. You're swimming parallel to the shore. So the tide will still pull you out a little bit, but by swimming parallel to the shore, you'll get yourself out of the rip current faster. You don't just ball up and float. If you fucking do that, you can wind up so far out that you can't you'll drown before you get back to shore. You'll be exhausted.
Yeah, the only thing you gain by surrender to a riptide is death.
Yeah, exactly. You don't surrender to it. You swim parallel to the shore in either direction. And once you're out of the riptide, you gain your composure, float for a little bit, make sure you're relaxed and calm, and then you begin to swim back toward shore after you're outside the riptide. If you let that riptide just take you where it wants to take you, it's going to fucking take you where you do not want to be. Too far out. And I think that's where these guys are. I think that's where Zetetic Princess is. He succumbed to the world, the corporate environment, the system. He succumbed to probably the pharmaceutical cabinet at work. And he's caught in that tide of pharmacology to the point where he could no longer maintain his employment. I've seen a lot of healthcare professionals end up in ruin because of access to the pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be where he is. The rip tide he's referring to may very well be, in my opinion, the abuse of pharmaceuticals. To the point where he couldn't function. He couldn't swim right anymore. So he just let that current of pharmacology take him wherever he wants to go. And that, allowing yourself to get pulled out by that tide, could ruin a real good career like Z had, and deposit you on some deserted desert island called Paul Unslaved, where there's barely anything to subside on. Flo B says there's 3 places for him: recovery, institutionalized, or the grave. I would agree with that. Let's hope he makes it to recovery before the institution or the grave. If he only has a choice between the grave and the institution, godly rules I see in the back room there, I'll bring you up in a second. Let's hope that if he doesn't recover, he's institutionalized before the grave, because the institution may help him recover.
I just want to say thanks for having me up. I've got to go get ready for Welsh's.
All right, Hank, I'll catch you over there, bro. You breaking up a little bit, so I'll see you over there. I'll be there in a little bit.
All right. Thanks again.
All right, bro. Have a good day, man. I'll catch you in a bit.
Yep.
O'Doley Rules.
Thanks,
you are
Jim.
added to the stream. Microphone's open, bro. What do you have to say? Oh,
Thanks,
you are
Jim.
added to the stream. Microphone's open, bro. What do you have to say?
Oh, I was just going to come up and ask you your opinion on something I haven't heard anyone say about this gentleman you're talking about. Oh, I was just going to come up and
Oh, so you have nothing to say?
opinion on something I haven't heard anyone say about this gentleman you're talking about.
Bro, I'm getting some feedback there. You got headphones?
Oh, no. What I'm wondering is, with where I worked in the medical field,
okay,
I've noticed with a lot of these guys, it seems like they've had closed head injuries at a very young age.
And you would what do you do in the medical field first? This is just your opinion, right?
Like football, baseball.
What do you do in got you. Concussions. This is just your opinion, right?
Yeah, this is no medical advice. This is nothing at all.
Cool. It's just something you've observed over time. And what do you do in the medical profession?
This is just me observing. I dealt with trauma for 24 years.
Gotcha.
This is just me observing. I dealt with trauma for 24 years.
Can you?
And it just seems. I mean, I'm not getting down on the guy, but the way his eyes are, like, you remember people say the 1,000-yard stare. It just seems. I mean, I'm not getting down on the guy, but the way his eyes are, like, you remember people say the 1,000-yard stare. It just seems like something's off. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the guy very well.
Oh, something's definitely off with him. This guy was an audiologist. He's an educated man. He did work in the medical profession. You know, he had a good job. He had a good career, and you know, he pissed it all away.
Yeah, I'm not bullshitting.
Pissed it all away.
Yeah, I'm not bullshitting. You know, just like satire or something. But the more I watch, and I don't have a lot of time to stop in and out and watch, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like satire or something. But the more I watch, and I don't have a lot of time to stop in and out and watch, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, bro, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
But they all seem to have the same demeanor and even mannerisms and everything.
All right, bro, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
But they all seem to
Gotcha.
have
Do you have a pair of headphones you could throw on, or drop that volume down a little bit? Do you have a pair of headphones you could throw on, or drop that volume down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hardly ever.
Yeah, it's all right. No big deal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hardly ever.
Yeah, it's all right. No big deal.
Did that do anything? Yeah, I'm sorry.
There might be a little delay. I'm still getting some feedback.
Is that okay?
Let me see if it clears up. There might be a little delay. I'm still
Oh,
getting some feedback.
I might be behind in the chat. Let me. Oh, I might be behind in the chat.
Yeah, I'm still getting that. Sorry, Odily Rules. I'm getting too much feedback for the conversation between us to make much sense. It is 6:18. I am getting ready to thank you for coming up. I appreciate it. In the future, if you can have a pair of headphones ready, we'll be able to talk a little better. I am going to head over to Welsh News Network. This seems like a good time to drop out on today's episode. I will be back again tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in today. A little look at some of the asses around YouTube. We'll do a little more of this in the future. We may start to take a more focused look at the Zetetic warrior, as I think he may be a future numbskull on YouTube. So I brought you in with cake today, a little bit of cake. I'll take you out with a little bit of cake. So you may say that codedfriend.001 today gave you your cake and let you eat it too.
Well, your CD collection looks shiny and costly. How much did you pay for your bad Moto Guzzi? And how much did you spend on your black leather jacket? Is it you or your parents in this income tax bracket? Now tickets to concerts and drinking at clubs, sometimes for music that you haven't even heard of. And how much did you pay for your rock and roll t-shirt that proves you were there, that you heard of them first? Now, how do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? Oh, tell me. Oh, yeah, alright. Alright. Oh, yeah, alright. How much did you pay for the chunk of his guitar, the one he ruthlessly smashed at the end of the show? And how much will he pay for a brand new guitar, one which he'll ruthlessly smash at the end of another show? And how long will the workers keep building him new ones, as long as their soda cans are red, white, and blue ones? And how long will the workers keep building him new ones, as long as the soda cans are red, white, and blue ones? Yeah, yeah. Leather and hospital bills and tattoo removal and dozens of pills. Your liver pays dearly now for youthful magic moments, but rock on completely with some brand new components now. How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? How do you afford your rock and roll lifestyle? Oh, right, oh, yeah. So good, oh, baby. Excess ain't rebellion. You're drinking what they're selling. Your self-destruction doesn't hurt them. Your chaos won't convert them. They're so happy to rebuild it. You'll never really kill it. Oh, yeah, excess ain't rebellion. You're drinking what they're selling. Excess ain't rebellion. You're drinking, oh, yeah, you're drinking what they're selling. Oh, yeah, oh, right, oh, yeah,
Coded Friend .001 listeners, thank you for joining us. Have a great night tonight. Welsh News Network, 6 minutes. See you there. Later.